Biliana, can you speak? I just need to see if it's working.
Sure, yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Okay, thank you. I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and and also on LinkedIn. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching live, please drop me a comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. My name is Inga, and I'm known as the Connection Catalyst. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that I help entrepreneurs develop a social media strategy so that they can stand out and connect with the ideal community. We are live on radio as well as LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And I'm so excited to be able to bring my amazing guest on. Her name is Biljana, and she is in Bulgaria. Um, Let me see. I'm gonna bring you on, Biljana. Hello.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around this beautiful, beautiful world. Good morning, Inga.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Billy. Just awesome to be able to see you on my screen and to know what we're gonna talk about. Oh,
Good morning to Forrest as well. She's watching on LinkedIn.
awesome. So if you're watching or listening, actually watching or listening, let us know. Drop us a comment, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. And also, if you'd like to join in and be part of the conversation on AfriKaap Radio's WhatsApp group, please send us a message and let us know. Let me tell you where if you can, if you'd like to join the group, you can send a message to +27 69 714 45204. I'm excited. Let's go. Bilyana and I will be talking about adversity and how it is that we can overcome it. Um, Bilyana, won't you please introduce yourself to our guests?
Hi to everyone again. My name is Biljana Georgieva. I am originally Bulgarian. I've been living in London, Monaco, Nice, Dublin. So it's Mauritius, everywhere around the world, but mainly in London for the past, I don't know, many years. As a background, I've been a digital transformation area for 19 years. I've been a professional public speaker for 9 years. I've been using social media in a very professional way for God knows how many years, like 6, 7 years now. I don't count the years, but yeah, social media. I usually call myself, and people call me, the digital nerd for a good reason. I was for 2 years, for the past 2 years, coach for people who wants to become TEDx speakers, and I closed that coaching business back end of last year, 2022. And currently, I am on transition as new things are coming on a beautiful, beautiful way. And I start working with a lot of different energies. And the way how I talk about artificial intelligence and Web3 and digital stuff, I can also talk about archangels and angels and energies. So, yeah, pick yourself the topic.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for being here. It's
So,
awesome to have you.
it's a pleasure.
Um, the only thing is, I am getting an echo, so I'm just trying to check what is the reason for that. Um, hmm,
Good evening to Baby. She's watching from Singapore.
let's see. Okay. Hello to you, Forrest. He says, good morning. Thank you for tuning in, Forrest. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And hello to you, BB Kong. She says, good evening from Singapore. Good morning there. Yes, it's morning here, evening in South Africa. Where is it? What is it with you? Afternoon, Billy?
It is, wait, I always work English time, so my computer shows 3:38 p.m., so it's afternoon. In Bulgaria, it's 5:30.
Okay, wow. Well, it's good to have you from all the way across the waters. Thank you for being here. Hmm. Billy, can you walk us through your career journey, where you come from and where you are now? I know you said a little bit about it, but if you can dive a little bit deeper, please.
Oh my God. I Not very many people know that I actually graduated as a financial manager, financial management and accounting. And my first company at the age of 21, right after the university, was accounting and law company. I had a partner who was a lawyer, and myself as accountant. We had three people in our team, and then I decided to sell my shares to him, and I became an ERP consultant. I was implementing ERP. And that whole financial background was helping for that, because we were literally transforming big companies like I'm talking about DHL, Avon, Philip Morris, Holcim. It's like I worked with 21 different industries. It was huge, and it was always about transforming their processes and seeing the gaps and automating processes. Automation is my, I don't know, second skin most probably. So after being consultant and then senior consultant, I moved to project manager. And that point, I moved from Bulgaria to London as a senior consultant. But after I 6 years in London, I moved to Monaco as a program director. Because I was transforming in oil and gas. It's a huge company called SBM Offshore. Um, and they are behind the big companies like OMV and Shell and British Petroleum and all the companies which are producing petrol and oil and gas. So I finished in Monaco 2014. I left, and that was the last job when I promised myself I'm going to be an employee of a company. And then I set up my own company, which at the beginning was with digital transformations. It started when I was still living in Monaco, but I wasn't already anymore with SBM Offshore. And then I worked with retail companies as a digital director, digital transformation director. I worked with Primark, with River Island, with Cat Kidston. Cat Kidston is quite big in Asia and Europe, not that many in US, I have to say, but it's beautiful, as well as all the rest of the companies. And when pandemic started, I just lost all my projects. It was kind of devastating, but also I took it like, why don't I take it like a black canvas and just go with what I always wanted in my life. And I wanted to combine the digital, the social media. I was already on social media. I had around, I don't know, 10,000 followers on social media talking about digital transformations. I was already a professional public speaker, and I was like, I couldn't see the connection between those three, like completely like three different areas. And I was already a TEDx speaker. I was on stage December 2000 and, oh my god, 2019, yeah. And I started helping my friends to become TEDx speaker, and then I would start receiving calls like, why don't you teach me as well? And I was like, wait a minute, that actually whole coaching combines the digital, like all the SEO, search engine optimization hacks, what I put it for all the videos of my mentees, all the professional public speaking skills, because I was training people to how to be on stage, what is the body language, the intonation of their voice, how to perform, and how to perform really in a full power on stage. And also all the social media, because I was using heavily LinkedIn to get all my clients through LinkedIn. I started a newsletter, and by the time when I finished my newsletter, I had like 4,000 plus subscribers. I had like more than 28,000 followers currently. And because of my intuition and all the beautiful angels and archangels I speak with every day, they were kind of like pushing me into completely different direction. And I was like, oh, you need to close your coaching business. I was like, what? The first time when I heard it, I was like, what? Where that came from? But as you know, universe has its own way to provide us all the messages what we don't want to hear and we reject. So to cut the story short, it took me a year and 3 months to close my coaching business, and now I'm on a new path, and it's very interesting path. So I don't know what's gonna come next.
Wow. I feel like I need to breathe after you said that. A
Sorry, but
lot.
yeah, I didn't give much time to digest all that.
No, no, no. But um, all that we need to know is that you're very accomplished. You've done a lot. You've walked many roads, and you've reinvented yourself.
Yeah.
As you know, you've regardless of the adversity that you faced, you've reinvented yourself. And I'm waiting to see. I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat, waiting to see what's next. It's awesome. It's really awesome. Wow. So, if you know anything about me, and I know, Biljana, you know this, but to those that are listening and don't really know me, I am driven by the principle of Ubuntu. And the reason is because I love people. I just, I love to be able to help them and see them flourish in life. So community is very, very important to me. And on that note, let's say hello to some more people.
Yeah.
um, okay, Forrest says he's watching from just outside of Toronto. Whoop whoop. I hope you and I can meet sometime, Forrest. Actually, just that just crossed my mind. Good. So good afternoon to us from Chrislyn. She's in Cape Town, South Africa. And let's see. And hello to my fellow presenters. Jono is tuned in also from Cape Town, South Africa. And yeah, awesome to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. And oh, and also Mama Sita, Lady C, Cecilia Liz. She's also one of my fellow presenters and a really good friend, sister. Thank you for tuning in. Good to have you here with us as well. Thank you. Please keep commenting and letting us know, where you're tuning in. And if you have any questions for Boyana, of course. So, as I said, I always speak about community and, the principle of Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. I think South Africans don't realize how unique that is, because we grow up with it. We have that auntie that's leaning over the fence and watching us in the street. We don't realize that that is Ubuntu. We have people, yes, peeking through the curtains to see what's going on. But I promise you, yes, they're curious, but if anything untoward happens, they will be right there to help you if it's necessary.
Mm.
Um, you know, Growing up in South Africa, I didn't really think about it. If I stepped out into the street, or as a child, I mean, and I wasn't supposed to be there, like my parents were not there, somebody would actually scoop me up and take me back to my parents. That's not something that I encounter here where I am today. And I don't think many people even know their neighbors, right? I mean, where I am, I will say the two doors next to me on either side, I don't know those people. And it's not because of me, it's just that sometimes people keep you at a distance, right? So to me, I said community is everything. And to be honest with you, this is, pouring into the lives of others is very important. It's important because, this is the only way that we can get through life,
Mm.
truly, because no man is an island. Um, so pouring into the lives of others and community is everything. And this is part of the criteria that I use when I nominate somebody as a Wonder Woman. So, Billy, what does community mean to you?
I will absolutely answer that question, but I want to say something that most probably don't know. What you describe about South Africa is exactly the same way of mentality for Bulgarians. I grew up in exactly the same community. All the neighbors know, and they know everything what's going on in all the, like they put their nose and they're nosy in all the families, whatever. It's not their, job and business to know stuff, but they know it.
Yeah,
And when I moved to UK, what I was like, like how we all have that belief and expression that English people are cold. Actually, what I found in London, and London is like a huge capital. I mean, 13 million people, is that the community spirit in London, and I can only talk about London, but I know that small villages is pretty much the same community spirit, is that if something happened to someone on the street, there will be at least three people going and helping that person. So we don't know our neighbors, but if something happened to our neighbors or someone we see on the street, we go and we help them. And that is part of that community spirit. When I was watching this at the beginning, I was like, wait a minute, that is nothing common with cold people. Like, English people are not cold at all. They are polite, which basically makes them, like, in other people eyes, that this is cold. The politeness is not cold. Politeness is just a politeness, right? But as a community, physical community living together, they're very, the togetherness in the at least the Londoners is like really, really amazing glue between the Londoners. and including like any kind of tourists. I've been constantly stopped on streets from tourists to ask me for directions or whatever, whatever questions people can ask me. And going back to your question, is not just the community spirit where you live physically, but for me right now, the community is also across the whole globe. Technology at the moment allowing us massively to create communities regardless where you are physically. I met you back in oh my god, was it October 2021? I think I need to go back the time. But I feel you as absolutely, like, we are part of the same community, Inga, and we never
Yes.
met physically. So
Never.
it's, yeah, exactly. Sadly, but like that doesn't stop me from
No.
feeling you as part of the same community. And because of technology, now we can create those communities. And communities for me are based on few things. The first one is common beliefs. The second one is the value system. If you've got the same value system as everyone else, this is basically you start feeling them very close to you. And the third one is goals. Obviously, like what is your goal in life? Usually, goals is linked to business-wise goals, where actually, if you think about, you've got also personal goals, and people go to be a member of a community because of common goals, what they've got. So beliefs, value system, and goals are the three basics how communities are created nowadays. So any of those three, I think, is like a criteria. And thankfully, we've got technology and we can create those communities regardless location and geographical areas.
Yes. I think we always focus on the negativity of what happened in 2020. But we need to think about what good came out of it, right?
Yeah.
Because if not for 2020 and the pandemic that we faced on a global scale, um, many of us would not have met. Many of us would never collaborate with each other because we hadn't made that connection, right? Um, Speaking of community, let's say hello to some people here. Wow. Okay. So Forrest says that would be fun. Yes, it would be. He's talking about meeting. So
In
that would be
person.
fun. Gail says, hello, OMG. Love to see Biljana and Inga joining in as I stop for a coffee break time. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Gail. Nice to see you. And let's see. Forrest is addressing you. Would you please read what he had to say?
What would you say to someone considering a new career direction into an unknown area and is concerned about their lack of experience? How do you advise them to handle the emotional swings? I see two questions here. So, when you feel that lack of experience, the reason why you chose that career direction is because you've got the skills or you've got the experience.
Mm,
So, based your CV and mindset on what you know very well. So,
mm,
it's like don't see it as a lack of experience because you do have some kind of experience in this area, right? And be
mhm,
always super transparent and clear. So I was helping the kid of one of my friends who wanted her profile on LinkedIn to be updated, and she wanted to jump in a completely different career path. So she's working in a book company publishing books, and she wanted to be a social media marketing person, like completely two different areas if you think, but actually what she was doing for the company was exactly that, social media marketing. So I put it very straightforward as of, I don't have that much experience in social media marketing, but as a social media marketeer, but I've got experience in this area. So if you are willing to hire someone who doesn't have that much experience, I would love to learn very quickly, and I'm a quick learner. So that was very honest. And when she read the text, she was like, "Oh my God, I never thought to be that honest, you know." But I really like it the way how you put it in words, because that is indeed what express my current situation. And how do you advise them to handle the emotional swings? Just just go for it. There's like, your new career path comes from your heart and from your intuition, that you want to do something different. That something different gives you sparks in your eyes. It gives you, like a lot of energy. It literally swirls the energy inside you. It gives you goosebumps when you think about it. And that is what exactly employers are going to see in you, and they're going to hire you, because people nowadays don't care, and forgive my French, they don't give a shit about your diplomas and what you did in the past. All they care is how much you want to give to the company they manage or they lead, and how much effort and energy you want to put into this, what you're about to start doing as a job. So that's what I would answer.
Wow. Thank you. And I have nothing to add because this was for you. Brilliant, though. Just go for it. It's so important when we're looking at that shift or a swivel, if you want to call it, or um, that about face in your career journey, that you think it over and then you make the decision whether you want to go for it or not. And then you do it and quiet those thoughts in your mind, quiet those um, because we have naysayers around us, of course, but there's also some up here because what we do is we allow people to speak into our lives. And if we don't decide not to listen, it comes back to us and causes these emotional swings that we go through. So important. Go ahead.
Thing, sorry. There's one thing what actually stops us with the emotional state, and I'm gonna give it as a sentence to you, for us to practice it. Oh my God, it disappeared. um, Other people's opinion is none of my business.
Yep.
Put that, write it somewhere, put it on your mirror in your bathroom, so you can read it in the morning when you brush your teeth. Other people's opinion is none of your business, is none of my business, basically, if you write it, because it's about you. So yeah, when I was using those, literally changed my life completely. I wouldn't be where I am right now, and I wouldn't go from being an accountant to digital transformations to program director to coach for TEDx speakers to professional speaker to like completely different careers. If I
Yes.
didn't have that one, other people's opinion is none
It's
of my
none of
business.
your business. Yes. Okay. But you jumped the gun. We need to talk about this later. So we'll come back to this. But just remember that sentence. Other people's opinion is none of your business.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to Daisy. She says, Hola, Wonder Woman Biljana. You are amazing. Welcome. Hola, Inga. Love you, chica. Blessings to you both. Blessings to you, my amazing friend. Daisy is also one of my Wonder Women, and she was here during the inception of this show, during my maiden show, and she shared some amazing stuff. If you missed it, you can go back and watch. Of course, we were live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, so you can always go back and watch. Gail says she's joining from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Whoop whoop. Where I thrive on attending community events, but also my community is virtual. Just like how all of us have met and connected, Inga and Biljana.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We did meet virtually, and I love that connection. Thank you so much.
Yes. So I've met Gail virtually. We work together and we've met in person as well. So Chrislyn says, community is everything. No man is an island. So true. We all need people in our lives to help us grow into the person we are meant to be. And then Gail says, yes, Biljana, technology can be used for good when we curate and what Inga calls Ubuntu. Oh my gosh, the comments. Um, okay, so Daisy, so there's some networking happening. I love to see that. And Forrest is speaking to you. Go ahead and read it, please.
Thank you for the way you structure those replies. Thank you, Forrest. No problem at all.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Forrest says, I run into this often in my industry. Thank you as well, Inga. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. Kristen says, amazingly said, other people's opinion is none of my business. Exactly. It's difficult to how do I
Practice it.
say, to overcome sometimes, because it can be somebody that's close to you. It can be someone who's been in your corner. And so you have this, I don't know, a thought in your mind that, what they're saying is valid. But Biljana actually taught me a phrase yesterday when we were chatting. Um, a word, it's called brules.
Yes.
Yes. And yes, this is a family show, but I'm going to say it. Brules stands for bullshit rules because sometimes people say things that are that seem like rules, but they're really not. And if we recognize it, we can stop its effect on us, right? So thank you. I want to say hello to Jono. He says people have lost their community spirit. Everyone is living for themselves, but it wasn't the same for him when he was growing up. Yes, unfortunately, that can happen where, people forget. They forget that, they're part of a community, but we're here to remind you community is everything. So, Billy, let's go to how has your career journey related to the work that you do in your community?
uh, Gosh. Well, how it related or what was the impact?
Yes. What was the impact? Sure.
I believe the impact was huge as I've got all the subscribers for my newsletters or my followers. So it kind of it's like the vanity and sanity metrics, right? People wouldn't follow me if they didn't like what I was teaching them, and I was teaching them a lot of tips and tricks about how to become speakers and get on TEDx stage. So my goal was always to, regardless what I was doing, digital transformations or coaching, my goal is always to give tips and knowledge and just share the knowledge. And I always have that confirmation, why would I share for free knowledge on social media? And if like every time I would say, like, because first of all, I know that I'm always like at least 5 steps ahead everything else what I share.
Yeah.
So I would never be afraid to share something I know, because it's always gonna from my energy perspective is going to come back to me as another knowledge from people who are reading my posts, or anyone around me. So I wouldn't be, like, worry about, like, oh, someone can steal my knowledge. And like, I'm so far away from this level of thinking and way of thinking.
Yeah.
So because of me openly sharing the tips and for TEDx speakers and any kind of hacks, etc., that created that community around my followers and the subscribers for my newsletter. Before that, I'll tell you a very quick story. When I was switching between digital transformations and being a coach for TEDx speakers, um, I had around 10,000 subscribers. I was like, oh my God, like, these people are gonna now totally hate me. In my mind, this is bullshit rule, by the way, like, Bruce completely, like, my way of thinking, like, oh my God, these people are gonna hate me because I stopped talking about digital transformation. I stopped talking about, like, Web3, AI, cryptocurrency, any of those. And now I'm gonna totally shift to, let's become speakers. And when I start I stopped one and I start talking completely different topics. I lost about 300 subscribers, and I was like, this is actually good. And I took it as a very, very positive thing, and I'll tell you why. Because I knew that these people are reading what the hell I'm posting. So it was kind of my proof that the community what I created is actually absorbing my information, and the new stuff what I care about is not relevant to them. And I bless them. I love them. I love the people who unsubscribed from me, because that just for me meant that they just don't like my new stuff, and I was like, I just love that. And whoever stayed, they loved it. They loved, I mean, they apparently they also wanted to become speakers and everything what I was talking about. So I'm sure with the new topics about energy, I already had several feedbacks on that one, but I know that I'm gonna lose part of the people who are part of my community because they don't care about energy and angels and archangels, and how that change our daily life and how we can get our messages from the universe. Um, but some people are gonna like that, and they will need that kind of information and knowledge and what they can do.
Yes. Because we have to realize, I've heard people say this, you're not chocolate, not everybody's going to like you. But I will say, I do know some people that don't like chocolate, right? So not everybody's going to like you, and that is okay. That's okay. So we spoke about, becoming an entrepreneur, and that it's not something that should be taken lightly because, as we know, everybody faces adversity, but really to be an entrepreneur takes a lot of guts, right? Um,
Yeah.
so you spoke about it a little bit, but let me reiterate. I spoke before we came live here. I spoke about a saying that is very common in South Africa, and so it's Afrikaans, and it says "Hou die blink aan bo." So what that means is keep the shiny side facing up. So you want to make sure that you only show the good things in your life. And if you know anything about social media, people only show the shiny side. They only show, you know, when they've accomplished something, but they don't share the journey to accomplishing that thing. All the blood, sweat, and tears that they have to actually eke out of their bodies in order to accomplish something, right? Um, so, let's see. how do you how do you succeed as an entrepreneur? I've spoken about, overcoming adversity, being able to do certain things so that we can. Before we before I went live with you, I spoke about, you know, laughter. Laughter is really the best medicine, and it helps you because it helps to release endorphins and dopamine, and it's really nature's feel good chemical. I also mentioned about being mentally prepared. Um, and British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli, he said this more than 185 years ago. He said, I am prepared for the worst, but I hope for the best. So, being prepared is something that will help you because it means that you're thinking through those worst case scenarios and you're considering how you would react. So, you have a plan of action in case crisis hits, right? And that also is, it brings ease to a person. And then I've also, my number one tip that I share, and I share this with everyone, with my family, my friends, my clients, and that is to take stock of everything that you've been through. So not just negative, but to look at all the adversity that you faced and that you've overcome. So you need to write a list of all these things. And then also write a list of your accomplishments that you've achieved. And when you have these two lists, what it does is it reminds you that you're stronger than what you think. You're bigger than this. You can face something more, something else. So, um, you spoke about other people's opinion is none of your business. How did you get to this point where you've decided that that is applicable to your life and that has helped you to be successful?
Oh gosh, that is a story itself. Back in 2014, when I finished working in Monaco, it was my biggest burnout in my life. I slept just 2 3 hours a day. I was running like a big team. It was across 9 offices in 9 different countries, literally around the globe. And after 3 years of not sleeping enough, I was so emotionally and physically and mentally exhausted that when I left the company, I slept for 8 months in a row, for 9 months actually, but the last month was relatively okay. But for 8 months, literally, I was getting up, eating, going back in bed, and then waking up lunchtime, eating, and going back in bed. And at that time, my boyfriend, later on husband, now ex-husband, he was looking after me on a physical level to survive. Literally, he was cooking and cleaning and doing everything. And at some point around month 8, I met one of my friends. She's American. She was also living in Nice, and we start walking 3 times a week, 21 kilometers from Nice to Villefranche-sur-Mer, which is the nearest village, and back. So for
Wow.
3.5 hours, we were literally just chatting. My brain was completely exhausted still, and I didn't know where I am, what do I want to do. It was just like a lot more anger and disappointment and stress and everything all together.
Yeah.
um, and she was, at that point, she was studying for a life coach, and she needed a guinea pig, and I was like, I'm in. Like, I'm gonna be a guinea pig for, like, practicing life coach. And at some point, she was asking a lot of questions, like those 3.5 hours for 21 kilometers. She was constantly asking questions, and I was like trying to answer my best. And she could see when I lie. It was so obvious. It was just unbelievable. And she was like, why are you bullshitting yourself? Like, I'm not gonna do anything. It's just like you lying yourself. And I was like, oh my God, I did it again. So she was literally like putting it in front of my face. And that's when we started talking about Bruce, like bullshit rules in our life. And like she came to me with, other people's opinion is none of my business. And then I had to connect the dots in my life. You know how the founder of Apple, he says, like, you can only connect the dots from the past, you can't connect the dots for the future. And I connected that, and realizing that I have been following that rule that other people's opinion is none of my business my whole life, until that point, with that specific job as a transformation director, when I start caring about the other people's opinion, and literally I was straight away in a burnout and emotionally depressed and mentally. Um, and I had to take, it was a like most probably 1 year journey of going back to myself and going back to what do I want, not what people are telling me I should do in my life, not what my the advice of my parents is, not like what is the most logical thing for me that most probably eventually maybe is going to make me happy again, but it was what is in me, to go back. And when I say other people's opinion is none of my business, I do it in the most respectful way with the people who are giving me their advice, right? And that goes and links back to the question you asked about, like when we become entrepreneurs, we have to have that guts and balls to do it, but we have to learn how to say no to people and to or yes to people, but to always be within our own self,
Wow.
and what that intuition that here in our
Yes.
hearts is there.
Yes.
um, and to be able to tell them, I hear you, I listen to you, I hear you, I understand what you say, and I will still do what I believe is the best for me. Most
Mm.
probably it's gonna be a huge mistake in my life, but I need to learn from my own mistakes, because right now I can't learn different way. Okay,
Yeah.
there are two ways to learn something. You can watch people doing the same thing you're about to do, what mistake they do, what happened, and to be like, oh crap, I should not do the same thing, because obviously it's going to lead to the same outcome,
Yeah.
right? Or you can do that mistake yourself, get the result what other people have, and be like, okay, I learned my lesson, what is next, right?
Mm.
And my friend, for those 1 year, basically following those 8 months, for 1 year, keep working those 3 hours, 3.5 hours, 3 times a week. Um, at some point, she looked at me and like super seriously said, I'm your friend. I love you so much. And I still don't understand why you still need to be the one doing the mistake and learning from your own mistakes, instead of listening to what shit I did and that was the same shit you're about to do, and getting the same result. It just doesn't make sense for me. And when I realized all this, I was like, oh my god, there is another way of learning lessons.
Mm-hmm.
It's just listening to the other people and understanding. And I still kept that rule, other people's opinion is none of my business, because I need to decide which way I want to do it, to learn
Yes.
myself or to learn from the other people's mistakes, right? But it's
Yeah.
going to be still my decision. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
I will say though that, when somebody says something to you, it can come from a place of them knowing because they've been through it. But sometimes it doesn't come from that place. It
Yeah.
comes from just them having an opinion on that topic. And that is when we really need to look at it and say, you know what? No, I reject that and I will figure it out on my own. You can
I,
learn from somebody else's mistakes, but the thing though also is the result may not be the same for you because you're a different person.
yeah, yeah. I'm talking about sometimes like very obvious things, right? Which it's so obvious even for you, that it's going to be the same result. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not
Ah,
talking about like, let's go in that business. Oh, crap. There's so many people who failed in that business. I shouldn't do it. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking
yeah,
about like specific steps and actions, what you take, and you see someone else taking the same actions, the same steps, same situation, and it's like it's just failing,
Yeah.
right? So that's what I'm talking about. Um, oh my God, I wanted to share something and it just slipped away. Sorry, keep
That's
going.
okay. Um, I was just thinking, you know, what about when it comes to giving somebody else advice? What do you do?
I remember what I wanted to say.
Okay. Okay,
It was
go.
about receiving advice and giving advice. Exactly. One
Mm,
thing when I became an entrepreneur, one thing what I had to learn the difficult way was who to take advice from and
mm,
who not to take advice from. And it was a long journey, I can tell you. Like I spent on one of my mentors, I spent £10,000, which is around I think it's around $13,000 US dollars spent just for this to learn one lesson, which was how to know which person to take advice from. He was not that person, basically. And from there onwards, when someone was telling me, including friends, were telling me, "Oh, you should do this. Your posts are not good because of this. You should write this way the articles. You should run your business this way. You should structure your dates and priorities this way." I always ask them the question, did you do it in your life and what was the outcome?
oh,
And you say, so here's the difference. If someone did it in their life, they would directly give you stories of examples of what they did and what the outcome was. If that person giving you that advice never ever did it in their life, they would be like, but I know that person and that's what happened, but this is better. They will never answer your question. That is the big difference, right?
yep,
So the advice what I can give and how I give advice is only on things what I've been through, and I feel that I can basically put my 50 cents into that. And I always say at the end, like, just go with your intuition, because
yeah,
situations might be completely different, right? It's just completely different.
yeah,
So I would never give advice on things that I never tried myself. And yeah, uh, like my opinion, like the same rule of other people's business is none of my other people's opinion is none of my business. I also have that from the other side. I don't
yeah,
give my opinion when it's none of my business, right?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. That's important. And I will say, for me, I don't give my advice unless somebody asks me for it.
Yeah,
That's important because we are all here. I'm not a professor of life, and neither are you.
yeah,
So you walk your road, I walk mine. And if you ask me what you should do, that is when I will then lean in and tell you what my experience was, and then why. Because I always want to justify why I'm saying go this way, not this.
yeah.
Um,
You
so
know what?
yes, go.
What happened lately is that because I start channeling quite a lot messages from the universe, and I did that a few times with you, with a few people who are on that watching right now. Like when I receive a message from the universe, I just pass it. But my job is the messenger. My job is not to give opinion. My job is just to pass the message. Very, very different. And I managed to do it only the moment when I start learning how to listen, which is
Yeah,
so freaking difficult, I can tell you. Like listening in our community, what people are saying, the way how they say it.
yes,
Because the moment when you start listening in a community, you can actually zip that mouth and just watch what's happening and listening to the words people use. That's going to tell you a lot about that person, about their values,
yeah,
about what they stand behind.
yeah,
Um, and watching them, and it's just the body language always tells you, like,
Yeah.
we yeah, we communicate not just with words, we communicate on energy level always. It's getting really dark here. Like I
Yes.
don't know, I barely see myself now on the camera. Do you want me to turn on the lights?
No, because you need to go somewhere. You have somewhere to be. So I want to be cognizant of your time. This is a
Thank
good time for us to end our conversation. But thank you, Boyana, for being here. Thank you for being open and sharing your journey with us. And also, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. It's been
Thank you.
amazing.
Don't please explain what bruise is, because you know now what bruise is, and give examples on that. And to all of you watching, thank you so much for being with Ingo and part of her community, because I am part of that community as well. It's amazing one. It's such a pleasure to meet you all today. Keep listening and keep connecting with the people, and with very big respect, always follow the rule. Other people's opinion is none of my business.
Yes, absolutely. Thank
I'm
you,
gonna
Boyana.
try to apologize. Yes, I need to.
No,
I
that's
need to
fine.
travel now.
Take care, be blessed, and I'll see you soon.
See you. Bye.
Wow. If you're just tuning in, you missed out a lot. I want to say thank you to everyone that's been tuned in. Thank you, Forrest, Daisy, Chrislyn, Gail. Let's see who else. This is everyone that's live, and then and BB Kong as well. Thank you for being here. And greetings to my fellow presenter, Wayne, tuning in from New Zealand. Thank you for being here. Thank you also to you, Jonathan, and Lady C for being with us on the chat. And if you are listening on radio, let me tell you, this is AfriKaap Online Radio, based in Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm broadcasting to you live from Toronto, Canada. Thank you to those that have been listening and for tuning in. If you'd like to be part of the conversation on the WhatsApp group for Africa Radio, please send us a message at +2769714452204. And yes, this is Africa Online Radio. We are your oasis of entertainment, your Kaapse vibe, and we give you the best in local and international music. Thank you to those that have been listening. We spoke about adversity and how we as people can overcome it. Brianna shared a little bit about what she's been through, the journey that she's walked, and also how she's overcome adversity by really adopting the mindset that other people's opinions are none of your business. So remember that other people's opinions are none of your business. And when somebody speaks something to you that really has no bearing on what you're doing, remember that is just a rule, not a rule. And a rule is a bullshit rule. Make sure you choose what it is that you listen to because that makes a difference. Thank you for being here. This is Wonder Women Wednesday with Inge van Roy, your connection catalyst. And I'll be signing off for today's episode, but I hope to see you here next week with another awesome episode with, of course, an awesome guest. You guessed it. Thank you to you, Forrest. He says, wonderful show. And Daisy says, thank you, Biliana. Blessings to you. And she also says, thank you, Inga, for a great show and all as always. And hola to everyone at AKR Radio. Daisy is my friend and she's tuned in from the States, Lorraine, Ohio. And Forrest is also tuned in from Canada, same as me. So let's go to a music break. I will end this, but thank you for being here, and I'll see you on the other side of this break, this music break. Tune in on Radio AKR. I'm going to put the link over here, and I'll see you there. Take care. Be blessed.